nobody's going to be responsible for you except for you. But we're also not responsible for anything other than our own actions and reactions. We're not responsible for what somebody else decides to do with a situation. If we bring something up and they go haywire, that's not your responsibility. But it is your responsibility if you're purposely triggering them, if you're purposely pushing a button, if you're purposely doing it to get that reaction. So it's a fine line.
It's Mayim Bialik's breakdown. She's gonna break it down for you, because you know she knows a thing or two. So now she's gonna break down. It's a breakdown. She's gonna break it down.
Can I get a pair of sunglasses like Corey?
Jonathan, stop.
Yes, you can. All you have to do is go to Sunglass Hut. It's real easy. In a simple answer.
Jesus. Hi, I'm Mayim Bialik. This is Jonathan Cohen. Welcome to our breakdown. We are laughing because we are already having a great time with a really, really exciting guest. We have Corey Feldman here.
Who's already my best friend, more than yours. So just saying, I'm winning.
Wow.
Corey Feldman, so some people listen to this podcast, but a lot of people watch it.
Okay.
And this is one I think that people need to watch.
It hasn't happened yet, has
Because
it?
then you'll get to see these amazing sunglasses that Jonathan so badly wants a pair of.
It's
That's
like
right.
the glasses, is it a suit?
It is kind of a suit.
It's slacks and
suit
it's
jacket.
a very, very
It's nice.
snazzy out. Like,
Thank you.
this is an outfit, honestly, I would like to wear.
You know what?
I want this hair. This is
This is good,
this
you guys.
Is the
I
look
think
of my
I'm going to
dreams.
become your stylist is what's going to happen here. I'm going to come over. I'm going to get you some glasses.
This
Get you a
is-
suit. We'll be
it's-
wonderful.
You know what this outfit says?
What does it say?
You had somewhere to go today. You woke up with intention, and you know what? It shows respect to the podcast.
Well, hold on
that
one
you
second.
showed up like this.
Yes,
Hold on.
Yeah,
Did
I
you
agree.
did
I
you
agree.
do other things more important than this
No,
today?
I dressed up for you.
See?
For real.
So for those of
This
you
is
who
how much he cares about us.
But this is the way I philosophize. If I'm going to do something and it's in the business realm, I want to look like a business person. I don't want to go, wearing jeans and a t-shirt and being all sloppy.
describe what I look like for people who are listening.
You
What am
look
I?
like a business person. You've got your hair in a bun. You got your glasses on. You got a nice sweater going. You look like a podcast
Okay.
host.
But
Thank
this is
You don't look like you're off game. You just don't look like you're maybe on talk show circuit game. It's levels, right?
All right. Wait, people may not know who Corey Feldman is because sometimes people have crawled out from under a rock. I'd like to just read a little bit. Corey Feldman began his career. No, I won't
I
read
can
it like
be
that.
your plumber. You find my ad in the white pages.
So Corey Feldman began his career at the age of 3. He was in a McDonald's commercial. I also have been in a McDonald's commercial when I was
Nice.
11.
Nice.
Corey has literally been a mainstay in the industry. You've been in over 100 films. Your first leading role, one of my favorites, The Bad News Bears in 1979. You've been in some of the most kind of formative films of a certain generation's life. Gremlins, Goonies, Stand By Me, and The Lost Boys. It's very exciting. In addition, you're a producer. You do so many things. You wrote a memoir, and you're a musician, which I've known kind of like for many, many years of my life. I knew that you were a musician, but this was something that while many of us knew you acting, you also had this whole
I was
musical.
working simultaneously in
Wow.
the studio creating music.
This is a whole other side of your life, is your musical side.
All during the pandemic, I was working on this kind of gargantuan mammoth project, which turned into this box set, which is 6 discs, 4 CDs, 2 DVDs,
Wow.
a hologram, a 50-page color magazine, all kinds of goodies inside.
This is a collection then of music.
Right. From going all the way back 35 years.
Wow.
So my first album was released in 1993. It's called Love Left. We remixed and remastered all the songs on that album. And while we were going through those tapes, we found a bunch of stuff that I never ever released.
Wow.
So
It's
we
like your
remixed
basement
that too.
tapes.
Exactly.
Also, this box is stunning. Can people get this box, or this is like a
can.
limited
You can
edition?
Get it from it's a limited edition. We only made, I think, 500 of them.
Wow.
There's only about 80 left. You can get it on my website, coreyfeldman.net. It is rather pricey because, as you can see, it's a lot of work. But
it's like a whole universe in here.
Yes.
I want to take us back a little bit. Where were you born?
Right here.
You were born
Not at your house, but yes, in Encino, California.
Really? So you were a Valley kid.
I was born a Valley boy, yes.
Wow. You've talked a lot about your family and some of the complexity with your mom, but you started acting very, very young, correct?
I did.
You were
3.
Wow. We've gotten to speak to some really interesting, actors who started that young. We talked to Candace Cameron Bure.
Yes.
And we had Jodie Sweetin on recently, and I started acting at 11. I was considered, an
Still
old
young.
maid. It's still young,
yes.
but very different than 3. Do you? And we had Seth Green on, and he had some really interesting memories from his, kind of early acting. Do you remember being that young?
All of it.
Wow.
Every bit of it. If you read my book, the first page of the book is the first memory I have, which is my first day going to set.
Wow.
My first memory literally is waiting at the kitchen table, eating cereal, and my grandmother showing up at the door, knocking on the door to come watch, I guess, my sister while my mom took me to the set, or she was taking me to the set while my mom... No, but I'm pretty sure my mom was with me on that first day.
Were you a precocious child? Did you like attention? Were you cute? Like, what was it?
I mean, yes and no. I did like attention. I was a bit of a ham. I was a little bit of a loudmouth, but I also lived in a really abusive household where you couldn't be a ham and you couldn't speak up and you couldn't do those things. So it was almost like, hey, here's a way you can use that energy. This is a funnel for you to get that out, But that said, I do regret the fact that I didn't have a normal life or the option to have a normal life. The problem is that when you work so young and your life is dedicated to the point where you're already kind of seen as famous before you're even famous, before you even know what that is, before you know what your own name or worth or value as a human is. The problem with that is you can't get fame and then decide, okay, now I don't want it anymore. It doesn't work that way because now people point and laugh at you. People look down at you because there's this like natural thing that goes on with people. They go, oh, you're working at Blockbuster now and you used to be famous? Loser.
Right.
And you're disregarded as like a loss. Like your life is over. You're worthless. And that's the guilt that's put, that's the guilt that's put on top of you the second you walk out of that hit show or the second you walk away from that, series of films or whatever it is.
Right.
So you can't just stop. You'd like to stop, but you can't stop because if you don't, then you get this bullying that happens from the world at large that, oh, well, you're no good anymore. Sorry, I guess you just blew it. You're over with. And so I couldn't let that happen.
Right.
And so I kept working and I kept working and I kept working. And here we are 50 years later and I'm still freaking working.
So, did you go to public school? Were you kind of homeschooled and schooled on sets? Like, I'm just kind of curious what your peer life was like because our peers are usually adults on sets. Like, that's kind of what it's like to be a kid. But did you have other like school experiences?
I did, and they weren't pleasant.
Right.
Because when you're the kid that's leaving all the time, they think, oh, you think you're special.
That's right.
You think you're something special, so we can pick on you because you're not even ever here, and you get to leave early, and you get to not be here half the time, and blah, 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 blah.
Right.
And they don't realize that I don't want to go. It's not me doing it. It's my mom and dad making me do it, and this isn't my choice. This is my parents' choice. And you know what I mean? Like, they don't get it.
Sure.
And they also don't get that you're going to work. They don't get that you're sitting, for 10 hours a day on a hot set and you still have to go to school, by the way.
Right.
It's not like you get away with not going to school. You still go to school, but you also have to work. And you have to do both in one day. And they don't understand that. So it's very traumatic for a child because they lay into you heavily.
Sure.
You don't have friends. Everybody hates you. And they don't realize they're jealous of you at that age. They just think that you're an ass or whatever, and they don't like you.
Right.
You think you're special, and it's that. When in fact I was not that guy. I was a very sweet kid. I had good intentions, and I would have loved to have more camaraderie as a kid, but unfortunately it wasn't there. I did make friends in my neighborhood. I lived in a cul-de-sac when I stayed at my grandmother's, so that's kind of one of the reasons I like going to my grandmother's. Aside from not being abused on a daily basis, that was
she
another
also in the
perk.
Valley?
She was in the Valley, and she was not in any way abusive. My grandfather was abusive leaning, I guess you would say these days. But he was, he was raised in the days when everybody beat their kids, and that's just the way it was. So he was beat badly by his father. He beat his children badly.
Right, hurt people.
But when it came time to raise the grandkids, he tried not to do that.
Right.
So there was only one time he was really physical with me. So I did feel that was a bit of a safe haven. Even though he had a tendency to violence, he was able to refrain it. He just yelled a lot and made me think he was going to kill me all the time, but he didn't actually go through with it. Whereas my mom actually would go through with it and had no limit to that. There was no end to it, Right.
It's interesting, and the reason I asked about school and stuff is because, you were part of, obviously you did a lot of acting before things like Stand By Me and Goonies and things like that, but you became part of an aspect of the industry that was all of these young, talented actors, and it was kind of all these different combinations and permutations of actors. We called you the Coreys, it was you and Corey Haim, and it was this group of guys, and you could see all of you in different films. And it was this amazing collection of cinema at that time that you were part of. Did friendships come out of that then that became your peer group? Like, is that sort of where you maybe felt a little camaraderie?
It did, and unfortunately, 90% of them are gone.
Yeah.
Literally, we were talking a little bit about it before we started rolling, but yeah, it's tragic and it's sad because at my age, I should not have so much loss of life. But yet, I feel like I'm a 75-year-old man because literally 70% of my friends are gone. 70% of them are gone. That's insane.
It was a very rigorous emotional time. And also, we were young people and teens at a time when drugs looked very different.
We were able to experiment, and it wasn't life or death. They would tell you it was life or death, which was, I always said, one of the problems with the anti-drug message was that they lied to kids. They would tell kids, if you do this drug, it's going to kill you. And then they would see their friends do it and it didn't kill them. And then they go, well, you're lying to me. Just like Santa Claus, you're lying to me.
Well, it was also the equating of, let's say, they sold, I was part of the DARE programs, Jonathan's a little bit younger, and also Canadian.
I was not just part of it, but I was the guy that was the head. I don't know if you remember this, but I was the head of an organization called Hollywood Kids Say No to Drugs.
I remember this, Corey.
Exactly. And you were probably there.
I was probably there.
I would almost imagine you with a sweater on.
Yeah.
Being part of, do you remember the guy Steve who was the head of it?
I do not remember.
We would meet at his house in Malibu. And it was everybody. It was Sean Astin. It was his brother Mackenzie.
Yep. Oh my God.
Mino and Soleil were there.
That's right.
It was all of us, right? We were.
We were either there at Ed DeBevick's. That's what I remember.
That's right. Drew, all of us, right?
Yeah.
And so the point being that I was very anti-drug. I was very serious about that. I hated drugs. I saw what they did to my mom. I was never a fan. And then my dad was always smoking weed. So it was like, well, I guess it's okay because ever since I was 7 years old on the set of Bad News Bears, my dad was smoking weed.
Right.
Every time I'd get in the car, he was with some of the producers smoking weed. So I thought, this is fine. No big deal. Then a couple years later, he introduces me to this guy who ends up giving me every drug I ever tried and molesting me. And then Alfie, endorses drugs and molests me and has parties at his house where they're feeding kids drugs and alcohol.
Right.
So that's what you're raised around.
Well, and also I want you to speak a little bit to, I think we both appreciate, the honesty that you're willing to have about this. It's not something
you were there,
that,
and it's nice to talk to somebody that was there.
Sure,
because it's hard. It's hard to live life with everybody going, I don't know what he's talking about. Is he even telling the truth?
Right. Mayim Bialik's Breakdown is supported by Athletic Greens. I use Athletic Greens every day. I started taking Athletic Greens because I was the kind of person who was taking a million pills, a million supplements, a million powders, a million sprays, and I was exhausted trying to be healthy while making myself crazy with a million pills that I was constantly forgetting and feeling guilty about. So, what's Athletic Greens? Well, with one delicious scoop of Athletic Greens, you absorb 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help you start your day right. Right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. 1 scoop in a cup of water every day, not a million different pills and supplements. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is also going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is go to athleticgreens.com/breakdown. Again, athleticgreens.com/breakdown. Take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. Mayim Bialik's Breakdown is supported by BetterHelp. When you're at your best, you can do great things, but sometimes life gets you bogged down. You might feel overwhelmed, maybe like you're not showing up the way you want to. Working with a therapist can help you get closer to becoming the best version of you. When you feel empowered, you are more prepared to take on everything that life throws at you. That's what my experience with therapy has been, and I'm a lifer. I'm just going to be in therapy forever because it keeps me able to try and get closer to the best version of me. If you're thinking of giving therapy a try, how about try BetterHelp? It's convenient, flexible, affordable. It's all online. You just fill out a brief questionnaire and you're matched with a licensed therapist. You can switch at any time for no additional charge. If you want to live a more empowered life, therapy can help you get there. Go to betterhelp.com/break today. Get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/break. I've also lost people, I've also, and so I'm often asked, and especially after people would die, it was often like, oh, this publication wants to know how you made it out. And why do people do drugs in the industry? And why are all these kids like this? So I'm not going to tell you my answer, but I know you are.
I want to hear your answer.
Well, no, but I'd like you. I'm going to ask you to go first because.
Well, I did go first. I put out a documentary and a book.
Okay, so I've been very careful to not kind of state what I think people want to hear, which is that my parents knew how to keep me in line, which is that's not true. People want to hear that.
What they want to hear is, did you experience drugs around you at a very young age?
Correct.
Did you see kids getting molested?
Right.
Was there pedophilia in Hollywood when you were a young kid? Did you ever hear about it? Did you ever see it? That's what they want to know.
Well, and I think also, the answer that I favor is saying, it's not just Hollywood kids that experience
of course
this.
Not.
What
it's kids everywhere.
Well, and I think also even beyond kids, the way that I sort of try and frame it, or at least what makes sense to me, when I think about the people that we've lost, you never know what's going on in people's homes. You never know what's going on with people's lives, and hurt people hurt is something we talk about a lot. And when you have a situation where a child is given disproportionate power and disproportionate access to a lifestyle that feeds an ego, it's a very complicated chemistry, It's very, very complicated. And, when you have a situation where as a young person, you are raised to please people, right? You're raised to perform. You're raised to not really have needs, right? You don't get sick days as a kid and a teenager.
Right.
We didn't grow up that if we were in a bad mood, you just say I don't feel good today. I don't want to interact.
Right. I'm not going to school.
Right,
I'm
so
not going to work.
When you have that
I'm not going to the set.
Right. When you have that framework, of course, there's going to be a vulnerability there.
Right. But there's also the big
Yeah.
pink elephant in the room,
Yeah.
which is most kids don't go to a party
Correct.
with all adults everywhere.
Correct.
Okay? And half of those adults are not grooming those children
Right.
specifically to ply them with drugs and alcohol so they can get what they want out of them.
Right.
Let's face it.
And people don't want to, and also people don't want to talk about these things. Nobody wants to hear that kind of truth. So that's why I was saying I do appreciate the honesty that you bring to it, and it's an incredibly huge part of, the identity that you have kind of stepped into. Meaning for you to be able to say, I didn't even choose this, I didn't even want it, and here I am. But you're gonna do it in the way that's authentic to you.
Listen, I live my life thinking that I have one shot to do it right.
Mm-hmm.
I am a spiritual man. I believe in God. I pray every night. And I believe that God wants help with this. I believe that was the message that was given to me after I saw too many of my friends die. And it wasn't because they died because they were random knuckleheads who just did a lot of drugs. These kids were badly abused. Let's call it what it is. They were badly abused. I was badly abused. And that's why we did drugs. We did drugs because generally the abusers were the ones giving us the drugs. Otherwise, we wouldn't have had them in the first place.
Right.
A 15-year-old doesn't walk down the street and get cocaine or heroin. It doesn't happen, you know? But when you've got adults that can drive them or bring it to them or whatever, that's how it happens.
Right.
So call it what it is. Don't blame the kids. Blame the adults because it's their responsibility.
Tell me about your spiritual side. Were you always spiritually inclined?
Always.
I mean,
Always.
you were raised Jewish. I knew that. I mean, I would
and
just
I
like
used to
your
get
name.
on
I
my
was
hands
like,
and knees.
Feldman.
Like my grandmother would come in the middle of the night, and I'd be praying on my hands and knees, and she'd go, "What the hell are you doing?" I'd say, "Well, I'm praying," and she said, "But that's not how we pray." I said, "Well, it's how I pray."
Wow.
You know, I don't know why, but that's what
What
I'm
did you pray for as a
told.
child? Do you remember?
I used to pray for my own selfish means. Seriously. I mean, I used to be like, you know, God, please give me this, or please don't let this day be so bad, or, you know, please take care of me, protect me, watch out for me. You know, nowadays, since getting sober, I learned that, you know, it's best to pray for others and not pray for yourself, because praying for your own selfish means tends to go nowhere. But when we pray for others and we pray selflessly, you know, hoping that God protects my family, hoping that my child is okay, hoping that my wife is okay, hoping that, you know, this kid who I know who has cancer is okay. You know, those are the things that matter most. And I think that when you're selfless instead of selfish, and you give back instead of taking all the time, that things just tend to work out for you. You know, I've been through hell the last 5 years, and many people have sought to make sure of it. But somehow I've ended up on my feet every time. There's got to be a bigger explanation. I mean, they tried to kill me a couple times. And the fact that I survived those things it's beyond a miracle. There's no other explanation other than the fact that I know that my path is what it's supposed to be.
What else do you do to kind of keep, you know, either your mental sobriety or your, you know, physical sobriety besides, let's say, prayer or spiritual? Like, what else do you do? Obviously, you play music, and I'm sure that's a great outlet.
There's a lot of giving back. You know, visiting kids at hospitals, or, you know, being a big brother type thing.
Being of service.
You know, being of service wherever I can. And that goes all day and night, because believe me, on social media, I literally have people all day and night that say, "Thank you so much for speaking out. I was abused too. I went through this as a child. Your strength gave me courage to speak up. Because of you, I'm now pursuing my own case, or now I'm doing this, or now I'm doing that." So that is the inspiration. But as an artist, I had to also say, I can only do so much, you know, because I've got to continue my career. I am here to be a light. I am here to help in any way that I can. But at the same time, I also got smacked down really hard for trying to do so. It's not like the industry went with open arms. "Hey, thank you for helping and spreading the truth." They were like, psh, right? So I had to learn, like, look, if I'm going to be able to manage to survive and feed my family, I've got to know when to cap it. And so there is only so much one person can do, because there's only so much the universe is going to allow one person to do. I'm not Superman. I'm not God. I'm not, you know, an external thing. I am just one mere basic human. And therefore, all I can hope is that by continuing to try to strive to be the best version of a human I can be, that somehow God facilitates the rest of it. And that means getting through life without any major chaos or major problems or hurdles. And there's hurdles, but I somehow always manage to get over them without knocking myself over.
What's your daily practice of like?
You pray.
Prayer and meditation, you mean?
Yeah, like serenity, like.
Try not to go nuts. If I can manage
easy
that,
task.
I'm all right. I'm all right. No, I mean, I do get on my knees and pray pretty much every day. I mean, that's a real thing. If I feel I need to, I sometimes write a list of the things that I need to accomplish the next day to keep myself on target. I make sure to always be there for my family. That's, you know, my rule, family first. And I don't mean my parents and all that. I mean, like, you know, my brothers and sisters to some extent, but really my wife and my child, and then our you know, extended family, which is my band, because we've been living together in a bus for 6 months. So it's like we're really a family now. And you know how that is. When you're working on a project, you become super close with these people, and these people are now living in my home. So literally, I'm like, it's like the Partridge Family at this point. We all get in the bus. Okay, time to go on the road again, kids. Let's go. And now we're setting up an international tour for this year. So the idea is to spread. And guess what? It's called the Love Tour. Not like the Love Tour that the other guy's doing, but like ours is Love Retours, because instead of Love Returns, which was the name of my EP, we put out an 8-song EP earlier last year before we put out the box set, which was kind of an appetizer for the box set. And it was a picture disc, really cool vinyl picture disc, had 8 songs, and we called it Love Returns. And so based on that, and the fact that I hadn't toured since 2017, we called it Love Retours, like the return to touring. And it's been amazing. It's been so beautiful. What a great experience being able to see people again, hug my fans, and the energy on stage. It's like, for the first time in my life, I feel like they're coming in prepared. They know the words to the songs. They're listening to the music. They're listening to the lyrics. And they come in and they sing along and they get into it and they love it. And it's this exchange of energy that is so powerful. I've had so many people tell me it was like going to church. It was like a prophet type experience, because they come in not knowing what to expect in some cases, or they've seen us before and they do know what to expect, but they get there and it's like they just surrender. They surrender everything, and you see it transform them. And it's good old-fashioned rock and roll and music and dance and love.
I have a question. Something I've noticed, you play with words in a very interesting way, just like when we were talking about love, like you like double meanings, and you were talking about retour and, return. Do you have any particular affinity for poetry, or is that part of your musical side?
I like to be
is
a
the writing?
conduit to whatever the interaction of the spoken language and the unspoken language can be. So in other words, I like to bring the cerebral along with the literal, so that way people can really dive deeper into whatever it is. I think that if you try to just kind of put something out there as a surface idea, it gets overlooked. But I think when you kind of give them a little more to chew on, then they want to dig a little deeper. And the deeper they dig, if there's another layer there, then it's like peeling back that onion.
But have you always just been like that? Like
Yes.
that's just like since you were young?
Philosophy has always been my favorite.
Tell me
And
more.
I've always enjoyed reading philosophy. I've enjoyed, excerpts from books or passages or prayers or, things that are enlightening. I love enlightenment. I love empowerment. I love self-love, self-fulfilling prophecy. I always tell people, look, the only thing I can offer is to help you be the best version of yourself that you can be, because nobody can ever strive to be more than that. But at the same time, many times we forget that we can be at least that. And wouldn't it be great if all of us believed that we could be our full potential? Think about how much happier and safer the world would be if everybody believed in themselves being their full potential and wasn't worried about somebody else being their full potential. Wouldn't it be great if we could all just build each other up instead of tearing each other down all the time? Everybody wants to pick each other apart, go, well, that person would be good, but they're not cool enough because they don't wear this and they don't do that, they don't da-da-da-da. Well, how about we don't tell everybody what to do all the time and, just accept them for who they are?
He's talking to me.
No, am
about
I?
you?
I'm not, I swear.
I have a question, because a lot of what you're talking about, and especially like in the self-love arena, and especially a bit of your spiritual practice that you talk about, is based on a tremendous amount of kind of tuning into yourself.
Yes.
Which it seems like you've obviously done.
An inventory is what they call it in the 12-step programs, but you've got to write out this inventory. And I did that back when I was 21. And then that would have been a year ago. So anyway, but I had to get to that point where it was about self-fulfilling prophecy. Like, okay, I've put it out there. I've dealt with it. Those are the issues that I had to deal with. But now, there's another chapter in life, and now we've made more mistakes, and we've got to correct those mistakes.
Right.
Nobody's perfect.
Well,
I'm
and-
going to make mistakes. You're going to make mistakes. You
Well,
know?
and so a huge component of that, and I wasn't sure how, if you speak openly, about 12-step stuff, but a huge component of that is, kind of tackling resentments and fears. And, forgiveness is not necessarily a 12-steppy term. I mean, obviously it comes up, but we talk more about cleaning up your side of the street and things like that. But you've spoken specifically, and I believe the word forgiveness has come up when you talk about some of your abusers. And I wonder what does forgiveness look like for you? Like, how does it feel in your body?
It's a
What
tough
process
one.
is that?
It's a tough one. Thank you for the question. It's a tough one.
Yeah.
It's probably the one that I struggle with the most because I can forgive, but I cannot forget.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, if somebody is still a ongoing threat to society by my perception, then I can't forget it. I can forgive what was done to me, and I can say, okay, I'll be fine. I'll deal with it. But you're still going to go out there and ruin other people's lives, and I can't let that go. And that's where I have the conflict. So I would say, it's never about self-adulation. You can never think that you're better than whatever, right? Because then you're stuck on you, and that's a terrible place to be. But if you can be okay with yourself, if you can just get to the point of being okay with yourself, where we're not self-abusing, we're not self-harming, we're not looking down upon ourselves, and we're simply just realizing our own worth, then we can be a productive member of society, right? So that to me is where the forgiveness is. It's like, I forgive myself for the pain that I've allowed others to cause me. I forgive myself for causing pain to anybody unintentionally, And I also forgive those who have caused pain for me inadvertently. But anybody that's just an evil shit or whatever, that's just going out of their way to hurt people, I don't have much forgiveness for that.
A lot of people ask us, how do I become okay? How do I get to okay?
Yeah.
And it happens with a lot of different people, types of traumatic experiences, car accident or what you describe, or, broken heart even. Do you have any thoughts on the physical side of you're struggling to feel okay, and sort of you talk about forgiveness, but what's that process been like for you?
I think for me it's more about not holding on to the grudges. It's just not holding on. Look, people get so hung up on, man, that was really painful and they did that to me and I'm going to hold on to this forever and I'm never going to let it go.
And you feel it in your body.
And that's hurting who?
Yeah.
Who does that hurt? It's not hurting the guy that did it to you or the woman who did it to you. It's hurting you.
Yeah.
So my message is always, let it go. Let it all go. Unless it's self-reflection, that you can't let go, because you've got to hold a candle. You got to hold a light to yourself and keep yourself responsible, because nobody's going to be responsible for you except for you. But we're also not responsible for anything other than our own actions and reactions. We're not responsible for what somebody else decides to do with a situation. If we bring something up and they go haywire, that's not your responsibility. But it is your responsibility if you're purposely triggering them, if you're purposely pushing a button, if you're purposely doing it to get that reaction. So it's a fine line.
Mayim Bialik's Breakdown is supported by Squarespace. Squarespace is the all-in-one platform for building your brand and growing your business online. You can stand out with a beautiful website, engage with your audience. You can sell anything, products, content you create. You can even sell your time. Squarespace makes it easy for creators and educators to monetize their content and their expertise in a way that fits their brand. Gain powerful insights into who's visiting your site, how they're interacting with your content, with the in-depth website analytics tool, including page views, traffic sources, time on site, most read content, audience geography, you get it, all the things you need to know. Squarespace has powerful blogging tools to share stories, photo, videos, and updates. You can categorize, share, and schedule your posts to make your content work for you. Display posts from your social profiles on your website. Also, you can automatically push website content to your favorite social media channels so that your followers can share it too. Go to squarespace.com/breakdown for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, use the offer code BREAKDOWN to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Do it today. Mayim Bialik's Breakdown is supported by Cozy Earth. I've been starting out the new year just like I ended it, with one great night's sleep after another thanks to Cozy Earth bedding. It's no wonder over 5,000 customers have left 5-star reviews on their website. It is extremely soft. If you're wondering, like, what's so different? It is extremely soft, and it makes it comforting to get into bed, which is something I've really been needing. Cozy Earth was founded to transform lives by offering the softest, most luxurious, and responsibly sourced bedding in the world. Cozy Earth bedding is made using the finest premium viscose from highly sustainable bamboo. Whether it's their luxury sheets, loungewear, pajamas, or a new bath collection, you're gonna love shopping at Cozy Earth. Now you can order their bedding in 5 wonderful colors. Plus, Cozy Earth bedding comes in a beautiful reusable canvas bag. Save 35% now on Cozy Earth. And hurry, this New Year's offer ends soon. Go to cozyearth.com/break. Be sure to enter BREAK, that's BREAK, at checkout to save 35%. That's cozyearth.com/break. My Bialik's Breakdown is supported by ZocDoc. You've been stewing about a health problem you have. You almost resort to texting your group chat to get your friends' opinions. While you're extremely unlikely to find quality medical advice in your group chat, you can find it from a doctor on ZocDoc. Thousands of medical professionals on ZocDoc are there to help you. They listen like a friend, but give you the expert care that you need. ZocDoc is the only free app that lets you find and book doctors who are patient-reviewed, take your insurance, and are available when you need them, and treat almost every condition under the sun. No more doctor roulette or scouring the internet for questionable reviews. With ZocDoc, you have a trusted guide to connect you to your favorite doctor that you haven't even met yet. Millions of people use ZocDoc's free app and find and book a doctor in their neighborhood who's patient-reviewed and fits their needs and their schedule just right. Go to ZocDoc.com/breakdown, download the ZocDoc app for free. Then find and book a top-rated doctor today. Many are available within 24 hours. That's ZocDoc.com/breakdown, ZocDoc.com/breakdown.
We talk a lot about reactions, and Mayim and I are always trying to become more aware of how we react, why we react. Any insight? You seem like you're constantly self-reflecting. Any insight that you want to share? We sort of do a little moments of like realizations. Anything that you've realized recently that you're like, something that you're working on.
Every day. I mean, I don't feel like, do we ever finish?
Never.
Is there ever a time where we go,
I thought
look
we
in the
were
mirror?
supposed to.
You do?
Well,
really?
like when I was a kid, I was like, I'm
yes,
gonna get to a certain age.
Of course.
I don't know.
And
I
we'll
felt
be
like
perfect.
then I'll just like enjoy life, and
Right.
like, I'm still waiting.
Yeah, no, it doesn't happen. It doesn't. It's a con. Okay, I'll be real with you.
I thought
It's a
that's 'cause I'm
con.
Jewish.
Right? No, it's sold to us in a nice little pretty package with a bow on it, and this is the idea we're sold, just like Santa Claus. Hey, one day you're going to be an adult.
Right.
And one day you're going to have all the answers. And one day your life is going to be perfect and you'll be teaching everybody else how to live their lives. BS. Every day I wake up frazzled, concerned, worried. How do I make it through this day? Or how do I help others? Or how do I help my life or my family or whatever? There's never a day, I think, as long as we're on this planet breathing, that we're going to say, I got it.
So what's it like
It's
being
all
what's it
done.
like being a parent for you? Because like we were
It's been
raised
great.
Well, we were raised in a very different time when parents acted like they knew everything. My parents acted like they knew everything and I
course.
believed them.
Right.
But I get to do it different, right? I get to say to my kids like, I have no idea how to handle this situation. What's it been like for you as a parent? It's been healing?
Very healing, very healing. And you know what? The pride of, like we talked about before, this was off air, but, the fact of knowing that you have raised a child for 18 years that did not get arrested, that did not go out and cause so much surus, as we say in the Jewish community, or a problem with other families, that you get that call from the other parent, like, how could your kid do, if you didn't get those calls, if you made it through 18 years without the kid, being called 100 times to the principal's office or, getting sent home because they have, some unproprietary thing or, there's all those things, right, that you can face as a parent. And I'm so grateful that I never had to face those. I'm so grateful that I actually, like, to me, the biggest fear when my child was born, I looked at my wife at the time and I said, how are we going to complete the next 18 years? How can we be mature, responsible, and intelligent enough and compassionate enough to raise this child properly so that they don't have any issues, so that they don't have any hangups, so that they don't feel angry and hatred towards us. Guess what? My kid is 18. He's got a car. He's got his own insurance.
Did you figured it out?
I mean, I didn't figure it out, but he did, right?
He texts you back.
He texts me. He lives in my house. He wants to be at my house.
Does he look like you?
Yes.
He's like a little you?
Yeah, we're kind of like twinsies. I just cut my hair off.
Yeah.
And he just cut his hair exactly like mine.
I want to see
we
a
were like
picture
standing in
after.
the mirror yesterday, and it's like, oh my God, we're twins.
What we were talking about with reflections is that it's never done. And I think that's one of the reasons to talk about it and to model what does it look like to continue to have them. I'll give you an example. Yesterday or 2 days ago, I won't tell you the exact subject, but Mayim, you actually said something to me. And my first reaction was to be like really frustrated.
I remember.
And it wasn't until about, I think, a day and a half later that I was like, oh, maybe your response to that didn't have the emotional weight that I thought it did.
Oh.
She was asking me for clarity on something, and I took that as like an undercut. Like, you don't trust me, or you're like not understanding what I'm talking about. But instead of interpreting like that, like a day and a half later, I was like, oh, I think she was just actually unsure.
That's something we learn with maturity, right? Is not to go on our initial instincts. That comes with age and maturity, because when you're a kid, you don't think it through. And this is, you know what? I had this exact conversation with my son 2 days ago. I said, here's the deal. You want to save yourself a lot of problems. You want to save yourself a lot of drama. Think it through. Think about, where is this action going to end up 6 months, a year, 2 years down the road?
You did a good job.
Thank you.
You've been through hell, and you did a really beautiful job with that kid.
Thank you.
Because it's not just like, yeah, they have their own mystical soul and it's beautiful and mystical, but like, look what you did. That's
Well, his
amazing.
mom was there too. She deserves credit too.
I know, but that's amazing. And
Thank
it
you.
must feel really, really good.
It does.
I mean,
It
that's
does.
And having parents that are present enough to know
That's
what's going on with the
lovely.
kid and to
Right.
be thinking on their behalf, because the young man's prefrontal cortex is not finished developing.
Right. And they just don't go there, right? They're just not thinking responsibly all the time.
be the parent you always wanted to have.
Yes.
And it sounds
That's
like
beautiful.
It sounds
Yes.
like we didn't think of that, but
I like
is
it,
that from
though.
a Dr. Becky? That sounds like that's what you're doing.
Well, I had to. I made a very clear choice when I decided to have this child, that if I was going to bring a child into the world and I was going to dedicate those 18 years to make sure I got him right, that I was going to give that kid every bit of love, every bit of support, and every opportunity of freedom of choice to live his life that I never had.
It's beautiful.
I mean, could you have done that not sober?
Absolutely not. No
Talk
way.
about it.
No way.
Tell us why.
How is it possible? You know, come on. If I was still the crazy party kid that was 16 years old doing whatever, and I wasn't a bratty kid. I wasn't a stuck-up kid. I was
No.
a pretty good kid, but I still made bad decisions.
Sure.
Because we just don't know.
Yeah.
You know, and if you don't know, you don't know.
This isn't a vanity comment, but you look really good. Like, you look healthy.
Thank you.
And
I feel
you know,
pretty
like
good.
you have beautiful skin. I don't know if people can tell, but like you do, like you have beautiful skin, and you know, you take care of your body. Like, I'm assuming that's part of also your kind of regimen. Like,
I'm a dancer. I mean, you can't kind of be a
Right.
dancer at this age and not take care of yourself, because you
Yeah.
wouldn't make it. I mean, I do
No,
a
but a lot
3-hour
of
show.
people-
I do a 3-hour show,
Right.
2.5 hours every night, 5 days a week sometimes.
I mean, I'm sometimes just tired just walking around my house.
Right. People say that to me all the time. They're like, where do you get the energy? How do you dance
Right.
like you're 20 years old? I go into my doctor, and my doctor does the vitals, and they say, you literally have the vitals of a 21-year-old. And I'm like, God, thank you.
Wow.
You know, thank God. But it's because I quit drinking at 18, 19
Wow.
years old, right? I was sober by 19.
Wow.
I quit hard drugs at 19.
Yeah.
I quit cigarettes 12 years ago?
Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, literally, I don't put toxic things into my body. And the big thing is, I haven't had a piece of meat in my body since I was 12 years old. But I cheat. I'm not great. I mean, look, I do dairy still, I still eat cheese and eggs and milk from time to time, although I am allergic to milk, so I try to stay away from it.
You're human,
But
yes.
I'm human. I mess up. So I'm not perfect. I vape.
Right.
You know, I've got a few little things, but
Right.
I'm not doing hard drugs, and I'm not drinking
Right.
booze, and I'm not smoking cigarettes, and I'm not eating red meat.
You have had a very interesting recent
Love affair.
amazing
It's a love affair with Jordan.
No, but a very interesting recent opportunity to work with, what some people are saying is one of like our great, creators of this time artistically. Tell us about your Jordan Peele experience.
Well, we're not working together yet.
Right.
We're hoping to.
I hope it
And
too.
I think that's from both sides. He certainly has made certain suggestions that he would like to see that happen. I would like to see that happen. He said he's looking for the right project. We'll see if that happens.
That would be
but
amazing.
we'll see. But that said, Jordan has some grand fascination with my work and me as an individual, which I am very grateful for. He said that these are his words, not mine, but he said that I was his muse and that he's been using me as his muse for many years.
Love it.
And he said that he incorporates pieces of my work or my film work into his film. So I guess with Nope and with Us,
Right.
with all of them, I guess at some point there's Corey Feldman Easter eggs.
This is so
and
cool.
references. Okay,
It's so cool.
so I didn't believe it really. I thought it was kind of like a put on really when I read it in some interview he did the first time when Us came out. So I kind of mentioned it, and then it was like he went on the talk show, and it was like Corey Feldman, he's great, da da da, and I was like, really? Somebody's saying that? What year is it? So because it's been a while since people of that stature have talked nicely about me in the press. But that said, then I got an invitation to the Nope premiere, and when I got the invitation, I was like, what? I'm not in that movie. Why are they inviting me? That's very strange. And then I realized who the director was, and I was like, oh, it's Jordan Peele. Oh, I get it, because he's been on a thing with me lately. Okay, I should probably go then. So I went, and it was a fantastic movie, by the way. Great movie with a lot of subplot about, the stuff we've been talking about, what we go through as child actors. But on top of that, there was some obvious reference points that I saw. I was like, oh, that's from Goonies, or that's from Stand By Me. I get it, right? And then when I was like, I went to the after party. I saw him there, and I was like, I got to be polite. I got to go say hello, because if I don't, maybe I shouldn't. I don't want to bother him is what I'm thinking. But then it's his night. He doesn't need to worry about me. I'm not even in the movie. But then I'm like, he did invite me, and he probably wants to say hi, so I should go say hi. So I had to have this personal battle in my head first.
You're going like this in the corner, right?
Right.
Should I?
You know what I'm talking about. You don't want to bother somebody. You know what I mean? It's like, yes, he invited me, but does that mean he really wants to talk to me? So anyway, I finally convinced myself that it was a good idea to go say hello. And I went over and I said hi. And he's like, Corey. Now, here's the thing. This was like pretty much during COVID still, so we all have masks on. And he takes his mask off and goes, Corey! And he gives me a big hug. Now, I don't know if that's because he wanted to kill me or if he wanted to be my friend. I couldn't tell you. But anyway, so he gives me a big hug, and he says, do me a favor. Take the phone out of my pocket and put your number in it. And I was like, really? Okay. Put the number in. He's like, now send me a text. And I'm like, cool. So I sent myself a text, And from that point on, we started communicating.
Huh.
And so he said, look, I really thank you for, I really mean this. And then his star, the lead of his movie, comes up, and she's like fawning all over me. She's like, oh my God, I love you. I love your movies. And you don't understand, me and my sisters, we all have Goonies tattoos. And then they all show me these Goonie tattoos, and they take a picture. And then like the next night, maybe it's Seth Meyers, and they're all on doing the launch of Nope. And they say, what was the most exciting part of the premiere?
No.
I swear to God.
No.
Who was the best person that showed up? What was the most exciting part of the evening for you? And they all say Corey Feldman being there. And I was like, wait, what? And that was like, really? And so like, Kiki's like, no, you don't understand. I love Corey Feldman.
Wow.
Like, he's amazing. And then Jordan's like, yeah, he's really been an inspiration. And they're all talking me up. And then Seth's like, well, how about it for Corey Feldman? All right. I mean, like it kind of blew him away that everybody was talking. Okay, so that happened. I was kind of like, okay, what's this about? So then I have his number. So I'm like, hey, thanks for the mention,
Right.
And tell Kiki thank you as well. And that was very sweet of you guys. I always love the positive word or whatever. And then, I figured, it was my wife's idea. I got to give her credit. She says, you need to show Jordan the birthday. And I said, why? And she goes, because it's a brilliant piece of work and nobody in America has gotten to see it. And he needs to see that movie. And I said, okay. She goes, so call him up and ask if you can send him a copy or set up a screening for him. Even better. So, okay, fine. So I do what she tells me. And I said, I got this movie I'd like you to see. So it took about a month and a half to get it set up, but they came over to my house.
Oh my
Jordan
gosh.
and his producer, Ian from Monkey Paw. Great guy, by the way. And Jordan and Ian came over to my house on a Tuesday afternoon.
Like you do.
And you're right. And I, closed all the blinds and put up the big screen and just 5.1 sound. And I played them this movie that has never been released in America. And it's my finest, proudest work. And it's something that I would love everybody to see because it's adult actor Corey doing what he does.
Oh, you could invite us over and we could watch it.
Well, fine. You guys will come.
I was going to say, next Tuesday.
Actually, by the way, Friday, Friday, January 13th, it will be playing at the Lincoln Center in New York, the most beautiful theater I think we have, on a giant screen, and presented by Jordan Peele. And the director of the film is flying in from Spain for this occasion because he's also simultaneously nominated for a Critics' Choice Award this year for Best Foreign Series. He's a Spanish director. He's got a series on HBO, which is nominated. So it all kind of worked out
You have
magically,
an amazing life.
Perfectly.
You have an amazing, that's an amazing story.
It is.
That's an amazing story.
Okay, so all that wasn't big enough or crazy enough. Here's the craziest part of the story. So I had this prosthetic ear from Stand By Me.
Like you do.
Okay, yeah, because everybody's got one, right? No, but now they do because I started selling them. But anyway, so I had this prosthetic ear that I wore in Stand By Me.
Right.
It was my character who had a burn ear, blah, blah, blah. Jordan, of course, is showing Stand By Me as part of this film festival that he's putting together. This is a real thing. There's
I
a
believe
10-night
you.
festival starting today. He's showing Nope today in New York at the Lincoln Center. Stand By Me, Dream a Little Dream, Friday the 13th, the final chapter, and The Birthday, premiering in the United States for the first time, all happening because of Jordan at this film festival. Stand By Me, he says, it's a big film of mine, my favorite film. I love it so much. And I say, great. And he says, so much. And if you don't believe what a big fan I am of yours, then how about this one? The ear is on my desk.
Stop it.
And I said, wait a minute. Hold on. We did a giant auction. The auction got hacked because I was trying to raise money for cancer patients. I did this giant auction for abused children and cancer patients. And I said, I'm going to give the money away. And then these mofos that have been targeting me and harassing me ever since my film premiered, every time I do something online, they infect it and they shut it down or they poison it some way. So they froze the bid button for 24 hours so we couldn't raise the roof on the price. And it got stuck at a very low number, and I was pissed. I didn't even want to sell it. I was like, we shouldn't make that authentic. But I found out who got this amazing deal and this ultra low price.
No.
And I'm not saying or inferring that he might have rigged it for that.
Sure.
I don't think. I think he just happened to come in at the time and saw that it was done. But I promise. No. He didn't.
It's just this whole
Breaking
thing
news
is-
here, Jordan Peele has an army of hackers.
No,
that's just so.
I'm not implying that at all. But what I am saying is that he kind of came into the auction at the right moment and saw what the price was and said, this is a great deal. So therefore, I'm going to make a bid. Apparently, unbeknownst to me, when I saw the claim ticket and the winning name, it was not Jordan Peele. It was like Clive Jones or something. I don't know, whoever the guy was on there. But according to Mr. Peele, he was the guy who bought it under a fictitious name.
Amazing.
And it is literally my ear from Stand By Me is sitting on his desk in his office somewhere. I have
Corey
not been there,
Feldman,
but that's the story.
Corey
And I'm
Feldman,
sticking to it.
You win. I don't know what you win,
I don't
but you
either.
win. It has been so cool to talk to you. And
Thank you.
Thank you not just for sharing with us, but just for all the good that you put out in the world. And
God bless you. Thank
it's
you.
just so much fun to talk to you. Corey, can we just do a rapid fire real quick?
Yep.
This is a rapid fire breakdown style with Corey Feldman. Ready?
Ready, I guess.
What
Sorry.
What was your mother right about?
Loving animals.
What was your father right about?
Loving music.
Location that promotes your best mental health.
The ocean.
Do you have a mantra? If you don't, what might it be?
Yes. Live to love and love to live.
Oh, that's nice. Who's been your best spiritual teacher?
God.
Moment of best intuition.
Right this moment.
And who are you most competitive with?
Myself.
Jonathan, you have one final question.
It's been said, instead of asking someone how they are, you ask them, how do you sleep? Corey, how do you sleep?
Very well.
On your tum-tum?
Oh.
You got so specific.
I see. Now, I thought you were asking about my...
Generally.
my
He's asking how you
I thought you
sleep.
were asking about my sexual grade, and I was like, it's really good from what I hear. No, I'm just joking.
You sleep well?
No, I do. I sleep pretty well, except touring kind of messes that up,
Sure.
obviously, because you're in a bus and you're getting bounced around, and, it's hard to kind of sleep in a midair. But that said, on a general night, I usually sleep about, if I don't have a really crazy schedule and I can just sleep on my own schedule,
Yeah.
I'll sleep 6 to 8 hours.
Okay.
And then I sleep usually on my side.
It's good to know.
Yeah, I don't like
You drink
sleeping-
caffeine. You like soda pop.
I do, but I don't drink a lot of coffee.
Okay.
So I drink Cokes 3 or 4 throughout the day.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah,
What's
and
that
that's
like?
it. That's my vice. Well, you don't do it?
I would love to, but I'm not supposed to
Why not?
because this guy he keeps a very,
What's
very
wrong with this guy?
because it's
Should
a
we have
very
talk?
short
Should we have
short
a
leash
talk?
with the toxins.
No. Tell me. I mean, are you the health expert in the relationship?
I don't want to go against the soda pop lobby.
No, I'm just asking. I'm very curious now because is this the dynamic like me and my wife, where she's the health coach and she keeps me in line and tells me what I got to do and what I
We
got to not
started this
do? and all that?
podcast only so that she could hear from other experts what I've been telling her for years about health and well-being.
So again, my wife and your man have to meet.
I have nothing else to say. From our breakdown to the one we hope you never have. We'll see you next time.
Peace and love.
It's Mayim Bialik's breakdown. She's gonna break it down for you. She's got a neuroscience PhD or two. One fiction, and now she's gonna break down